Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta. The good news, not a lot going on across the tropics today, but we do have a few areas we're talking about, from the drought still ongoing across Okinawa. Thankfully, some much needed rainfall, but the low that just moved on by is kicking up the next cold surge, which is going to pour in the northeasterlies across Taiwan over towards the Philippines as well. And then we got a little bit of a tropical wave back down towards the south of Guam. I'll talk more about that in a second too. But let's get into kind of the broader view of today's update. As I mentioned, you have that low passing off here towards the north. Cold surge setting up there across Japan, bringing some CFX snowfall to Honshu and even blowing down there towards Okinawa, while the tropics remain pretty quiet. Yeah, we got a couple little waves here, but all in all, it does look like those are going to remain rather weak. In fact, just taking a look at the general picture, here's our next cold surge kicking on in. Still, those easterlies continue to dominate. Some passing showers out across parts of Mindanao, but just in general, I know there in Siargao, some big plans going on this weekend at the Wake Park. Weather's looking pretty decent. If you're in Manila, expect the northeasterly breeze to continue to dominate with an isolated afternoon shower. I think the heaviest chance of rain, though, is in northeastern Luzon, where that peak of that surge is kind of hitting the Sierra Madre Mountains. Could even spill over towards the Cagayan Valley, but region 1 is looking pretty dry out here. And if we look at the broader picture, you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this surge that's in place as we go ahead through the rest of this week heading into the weekend. That's where the highest of those wind gusts are across the Luzon Strait, stretching all the way down towards the east coast of Vietnam. And also that surge is setting up a bit of rainfall all along the eastern seaboards as it kind of trying to punctures towards south with that temperature gradient. So let's take a look actually at a flyover here for the Philippines here on our Sunday. Isolated afternoon showers, a little bit of a tropical moisture kind of kicking on by Mindanao. Tacloban, though, absolutely beautiful. We scoot back towards the north. We are going to be looking at some pretty decent conditions over towards Palawan, and then really stretching back towards even Manila. Isolated afternoon showers I mentioned, but weather's looking pretty good. It's all the way back towards the north where you really still have that surge in place for parts of Cagayan, as I mentioned, and even stretching all the way back there towards the Sierra Madre Mountains. All right, we're going to talk about Okinawa next here, but first I do want to get a big shout out for all our Patreon members who continue to support this channel. Can't thank you guys enough. I never put this stuff behind a paywall, but it does help a long way if you do support the channel. All right, let's get on to Okinawa, and then we're going to talk about Guam, where, we just had this low push on through, and that has kicked off, as I mentioned, that cold surge spilling in. And these conditions out of the north are going to be rather breezy. I would expect upwards about 20, 30 miles per hour. Definitely some rough seas along the northern seaboards, and also is going to keep with these in and out kind of straddle cumulus clouds as we go ahead through the rest of the weekend and into the early part of this coming week. But overall, at least the rain is starting to taper off, although, as I mentioned, you do need the rain here, and it looks like the next round of precip should be arriving in Okinawa. There is a drought in place. I know water conservation is being asked by the local government out there. So, at least for the time being, just want to watch out for that. Hope for a little bit of rain. It does look like, with the El Nino in place, and it typically is the case from the Philippines to Taiwan to Okinawa during the winter months, we typically see below average rainfall, and still an ongoing situation out here for our friends across Naha. And then scooting over to Guam, the easterlies continue to dominate. And just by the way, for future updates, I plan on trying to not only focusing on the Philippines, Okinawa and Guam. Just gotten some feedback from some of you guys, so kind of bouncing around a little bit here. But for now, there's not a lot going on. Let's be quite frank. Northeasterlies dominating, temperatures up near 80 for the high, for example, in Guam. Fahrenheit, because American island here, with the waves really from this next cold surge not quite making it down that far. I know, what was it, a couple weeks ago we had some pretty nasty conditions, but it's kind of just staying off there towards the northern Mariana Islands. So maybe even Saipan, you can start to see some of the waves coming in from it, but I think Guam itself going to be kind of remaining just south of that next surge. So just in general, no real tropical threats in the forecast. And if you look at the broader picture, once again, things are staying on the calmer side outside of this low that's just kicking past towards the south of Japan. So yeah, that's what it looks like out here today. If you guys have any questions, though, please let me know. As I mentioned, please support the channel. You can hit that like and the subscribe button, and help us out on Patreon. And we're still waiting for typhoon season. We haven't had a big one in a while, which is great news, But if you're new to the channel, just stand by for that. And as always, thanks for watching. Number one thing, of course, is stay safe out there.